Welcome back, and if you missed our last video, please see the show notes below to view the introduction to the ACT365 Single Door Access Control System from Vanderbilt Industries. Today we follow on from that introduction to show you how to install and program the system. But first, here's a quick recap. ACT365 is a product that is extremely easy to install, that is price competitive with traditional access control systems, and requires no server or PC on site, therefore reducing your investment and running costs. It's cloud enabled, allowing for programming or operation from anywhere, and that's especially useful in today's environment, and gives you a reoccurring income equal to or greater than your current monitored line income. Let's get started. Okay, so to install the system, we just mount our box on the wall. You can open it up and can happily remove the front lid if we need a little bit more working space. And as we can see from here, I've wired the absolute minimum. I have connected a MyFair card reader on the reader input. I've not utilised any of the other outputs or inputs on the system. We've got 12 volts and our AC sense monitoring, but that's pre-wired with the 2 amp power supply version. And there's the 2 amp power supply under the main PCB. We've got our Ethernet cable, and in our particular case, we've got another Ethernet cable going off to another device. The box is big enough to fit a 7 amp hour battery in there. And we can see there are 2 indicator lights which show on the front panel, which is power and Ethernet or internet connectivity. And with our Ethernet cables, our transmit and receive lights are flashing to indicate that they're working. And that's it. Very straightforward to install the ACT365 control unit. So once complete, we can put the cover back on and do up to 2 screw terminals top and bottom on the cover. Once that's done, close the 2 little latches over the top of the screw holes and we are complete. All done. Okay then. We've installed our system, so now we set up our online account. So first thing, open up any browser that you've got and go to ACT365.eu. From here, click on the option that says Set up a new account. Click the registration details and we'll enter our details here and hit save down the bottom. The next tab will take us through to our payment details. Once that is complete, we'll receive a confirmation email of which we accept, which will activate the account. And then we can go and log in. So by going back to the home page, we can start it up. Type in our email address and our password that we use to set up the account. Log in and we'll be presented with a desktop, and it has a number of widgets on board that we can move around. And it shows that we are in the installer portal, and that from here we can add a number of customers. Now I've pre-set up a lot of this, so a lot of this will be already pre-populated. We can see here, we can see a map of where our sites are. In our case, we're going to click on one of these customers from the map, and it will take us directly in to that customer. In our case, it's Alarmcorp Sydney, and we have one door connected on this system. And we can see now that we are in the customer portal. This is what your end user will see and what he or she will utilize to program the system. We can see that we can manipulate these widgets that are on the homepage by dragging and dropping any of these other fields around. So in this case, how many card holders are currently on site, or we could show the firmware version and how many controllers need to be updated. Or, as it was sitting there before, any live events that are on the system. These live events are live, that is, as access control happens, within 2 or 3 seconds you'll see the activity on the screen. In our case, we want to add our new ACU that we've just added. We'll type in the ID of the control unit, assign it to a site, give it a name, and add some notes if needed. And then hit save to add it to your customer. We can go and have a look at the ACUs that are connected to our system. In this case, as I said, we only have the one. And we can see that I've got it in my showroom, and we've got a MyFair reader connected to it. Let's go down and have a look at the settings now. So we can look at the customer settings. From here, we can define up to 10 different holiday types in our system that we'll have a look at a little bit later. We can also assign 10 user name fields associated with a card holder. And in this case, we've just added one that says vehicle, and we've created a drop-down box for it. Pin length, if we are using pin code readers, and expiry for our user login. In this case, we've set it so it won't log out. And then we can set up how long we want to keep our online events for. We can also drill down and have a look at the details for us. We can associate a time zone for that site and the person responsible for that site. We can also see our installer. So as the end user, we always have our installer details on this tab, so to make it much easier for the end user to contact you when needed. Our users are people that have access into the system to do programming. So here that we have 2 users on the system that can program users or program the system, and we can assign various rights to them also. We can also associate email events to individual users from various sites, and any of these that are listed here can be associated with an email event to send out to a person. The system comes or can handle any card reader type, but you might have an occasion where you've got a card format that is not listed here. What we can do in the case of the ones that are listed is we can go in and we can modify the site code or where the card offset is located. We also have the ability to add our own custom format. So up the top there, we can go new card format, give it a name, give it a type, typically weekend, associate the bit length of that format, and then we can associate what bits where the card number is found, or potentially give it a site code as well. So here we can change where the card number digits are found in the bit setting. and we're going to give it a site code in our case. And we can also give it a parity. All of this information typically would come with the card format that you're adding. And you can hit save to enable it. From here, we could also move that new format up or down this list. So if the card isn't recognised, it will go down the list of enabled card formats that you have. So in our case, if it was just 64-bit ABC, we can move that format up so it will try that format before any of the others. From there, we hit the Access Control tab, and from now we can program the system. The first thing we'll look at is the door that we've just added. So we'll click on the door that we've connected, and from here we can change its name or activate any of these options. If we're unsure what these options do, we can hover over the Help tab, and it will show us, in this case, how the interlock works, or the exit button, or the PIR. Enable the options that we want for this particular door, and we can scroll down and then modify the relay time for the door, the auxiliary relay, the door open too long time, and then what we want to be logged in our system. Forced door, read errors, exit button used, any of those can be logged in the system. And also how we want the auxiliary relay to operate. So under any of these conditions, so in this case, if we want a door open too long relay, we would do the door ajar option. And then we could connect our sounder to that auxiliary relay. If we were using the alarm system option, there's various options for arming. If we were using this as a lockdown reader, we can select a variety of options also. Then there's a variety of timed actions for the time zones that we'll look at shortly. If we did have PIN code readers, there is this unique option here for any card at all, even not in your system. If it's read by the reader, it can be used for access without any other access conditions associated with it. Once we've set these timed actions up, we can hit save. We can also associate cameras. If we've got our VCU connected, in case we have 4 cameras connected, we can associate a camera or multiple cameras with door activity. So we can go back and have a look at our door. All of these menus have options at the top. So in our case, for our door, we could use the pass option, which means momentarily unlock the door, which we've just done. We could lock the door so nobody could get in, unlock the door, enable it, disable it, arm it if it was connected to an alarm system, or show the history for that particular door, or from this option off the main screen. We can associate door groups. So in our case, we've only got the one door, but if we had multiple doors that were programmed the same, we could attach all of those doors to a door group and then associate that door group to an individual. So it makes it very easy to associate half a dozen, or hundreds of doors to an end user. We can also add time zones. So by adding a time zone, we can give it a name. So in our case, night shift in this case. And 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. Monday to Friday. So we can set the times, then set the days of the week. In our particular case, we're not associating any holiday types with that. And we're going to hit save at the top or the bottom. When that's saved, we can go in and have a look and see that we've created that new time zone. between 5 and 11 p.m, Monday to Friday. And currently it's not active because it's not after 5 or before 11. We can see here that we've now created one of a multitude of start and stop times for a particular time zone. So we can now add different start and stop times on different days with different holiday types under that same time zone if we needed. Then after we set up our time zones, we set up our cardholder groups. So this is where we set up basically an access level for a door and a time zone within the system that relates to a group of individuals. So in our case, we could set up a new one that says office staff. We add the rights to them. Just remember, we've only got one door on the system, so we've only got one door group. And now we associate our time zone, so Monday to Friday, 8 to 5. We don't have any passback options in this particular group. We'll just save it now. So now we've got a new access group, basically, or a cardholder group that we can associate to an individual or a group of individuals. We've currently got no cardholders associated with this particular group. So with our cardholders, we can go up and we can see a list of people that we've already added. We can add a new cardholder, or we could bulk add a number of cardholders. So let's go in and let's try the bulk add function. So we can put in a starting card number and an ending card number, and we can hit the generate cardholders here, and that would give us access to the Alarmcorp Sydney site and full access. I don't want to go and generate 1,000 or so cards, so let's just maybe reduce that number a little so we can have a look how that works. So we'll start with 1 and go to 5. In this case now, we can now go in and add or change the first and last name for those 5 cardholders that we've just added. Hit save, and we'll see those people now in our list. So cardholders, we've got their 36 to 40, but their card numbers 1 through 5. If we want to modify a cardholder, we can just click in to that individual and modify any of those variables. In our case, let's add a new cardholder. Give that person a name, John Smith. Mobile number is important, and we'll see how that's used later. The same with an email address. We give them the card number that we have assigned to them, so we'll type that in over here. And then associate access to them. What cardholder group were they associated with? Again, we've only got the one site. And we'll give them the office staff group in this case. We can give them a validity period, and if we do, we can also associate a QR code. So we can email them a QR code that could be used in a QR code reader that's connected to the system so they can access directly from their mobile phone. We can give an individual different options here to toggle the relay, to extend the relay, to maybe arm and disarm the alarm that's connected to it. We can associate a picture for the person and then select from any of these fields. So we've added a vehicle field. So every time that we add a new car type, it's added to the list in the drop-down menu. Once we're comfortable with all of these settings, we hit save, and that person now is added. and will literally work within a couple of seconds after it's downloaded to the card reader. So he's ready to go. From there also, we can do a variety of things to the cardholders. We can move him to a different site or to a different group. We can change his validity period. We can view where he's gone, or we can check him in or check him out. So from there now, we can do reports. Under our report menu, we can look at our log events. So anything in the system in terms of card activity is listed here. We can do an advanced log events, and we can see all of the events on the system that relate to card or reader activity. If we look at our live events, this really is, as the name suggests, a live log of what's happening on our system now. If a card was to be badged in a reader, it would literally appear in this menu without doing any refreshes within 2 or 3 seconds. It's that quick. We can look at a list of all of our audit events. So everything that we have done on this system as a user, added cards, added time zones, opened doors, you'll see are listed here as we've done this morning. We can do a muster report. That is, we can see who is currently on site. So from here, there's 2 people on site. And we can see how that works with our app a little bit later. An absentee report basically now is showing everyone who hasn't checked in today. So all of our card holders that are valid that have not checked in. So you can see all of these, most of these are the ones that we've added this morning, as well as other card holders. So that's useful to see who was meant to be here but hasn't turned up today. Beyond that, in the report menu, we can also do an inactive cardholder report. Our system, the cards that we've added this morning, are ones which have not been used at all in our system. Card expiry report. Any cards where the validity period is due to expire or has expired will be listed in this report also. So a very good way to see if you need to extend the validity on a particular card holder. And we can do a basic time and attendance report here as well. So we can do it for period, for different sites, and for individual users. And from there, when we generate a report, we can see all of the times that that person has logged in, or when that person has logged in, when they have logged out, and their time on site. So in this case, we have the user, which is me. If we click on the name, we can see details about that user. If we go back and click on the arrow next to that user, we can see all of that person's login and log out times and how long they were on site for any particular day. In our case, we don't have exit readers, we've only got the one reader, so we can't show that very well, but we can see that information from here. From our site settings, we can go in and set up a number of things, perimeter door groups, fire groups, that again we're not utilizing here as well or haven't set up. And we can set up a whitelist of cards which will always work regardless of the settings of the door or the card holder itself. And we can see the sites that we have enabled. So in our case, we went in to have a look at Alarmcorp Sydney, the time zone of where the reader is located, and the contact details of that system. So from there, that's what an end user or you, on behalf of the end user, can do on the system here. From the installer portal, which we're not going to go into in any detail today, but the installer portal is your portal as the integrator, and you can add you can add as many end users or end user sites as you want. So then you can manage those individual sites, or your end user can manage the sites that you've allocated to them. So when we're on the installer home, we get an overview of all of our customers' sites. We can see how many are connected, how many are offline. We've got 3 offline here. The state of the firmware in each of the controllers on site. Any trouble conditions that we can see that it says we have 3 of our 5 systems are offline currently. From here we can add a new customer. We can go in and have a look at a variety of videos. I think there's 43 of them in this case on how to set up or program the system. So they're available to you to have a look at. There's also the ACT365 resources, which takes you to the Vanderbilt website to give you a little bit more information on the product if you need it.
Okay, last but not least is the ACT365 app. That can be downloaded from the App Store or Play Store. Once installed and signed in, you can do a number of functions from here. Firstly, let's have a look at our recent event list. We can see the event log and the access that happened in the last little while. We can also go in and manage our doors. So we've only got the one door there, which we can click on. From there, we can hit pass, which will momentarily unlock the door, and we'll put in a code that we've entered into our app. It will go and do that function, tell us that it's completed that function, and it shows us a little green unlock icon saying that the door has been unlocked. We also have the ability to connect up to 4 cameras on the unit. So by doing that, we can also view those cameras that are associated with the door. So we're going to go back and normalize that door, which means that you require your card to get through that door. Wait for it to say that it's done, one door normalized, and we can go back from there. We can also manage our card holders. We can see all of our card holders. We can see those card holders that are currently on site, and we have the ability with a simple toggle to either activate that card with our PIN code or to re-enable that card with our PIN also. So we've just disabled myself, probably best to put me back in. So Jeff Rushton is re-enabled. We also have the ability to do a muster report. And a muster report is a list of people that are currently on site. We can see that 2 people are currently on site, and directly from the app we have the ability to call them to find out where they are, and if they are out of the building and safe, we can mark them as safe, and that reduces our list in real time. So a very functional app which allows you to do, just the required amount of functions. We can also view on a map to see both our location and the location, in this case, of our nearest site, which is right down the road. So that's pretty much it for the ACT365 app. Very easy to use.
That's it. We can see that ACT365 is easy to install and program, and easy for yourself or your customers to manage. By adopting this type of model, you can ensure an ongoing, reoccurring revenue from your customer per door, and for most customers, even pick up additional revenue by managing their system for them, or from the comfort of your home or office. For further information on how to achieve this and the costs involved, please contact Alarmcorp. The links are below. Further product information is located in the show notes below, Also, Vanderbilt has recently completed a video podcast on how your access control system can help you adjust your business to reopen and stay open, and gives great tips on how your access control system is more than just a security device. It's well worth a look, and the link is also in the show notes below. Thanks for viewing, and we look forward to seeing you again on the next Alarmcorp video. Goodbye for now.